Right then. So the plan, we're gonna uninstall the mods. We're gonna show that we can get back online if we want to, so we can get back into the online servers, play some PvE or PvP. We'll go through what mods we need to download to get the Black Templars, some of the tools we need. So something like 7-zip, you might need to install that. If you want to get comparing files that exist in the pack files already with what people are modding, so you can try and learn what people are doing. You can install Notepad++. But the first thing you want to do is make sure when you're uninstalling it, remove any mods or any armor that you don't own. So if we look at my tactical, which I've never unlocked anything on it. If we go to edit armor, you can see the Secundus is there. So if I applied that, I'd have to go back to my default custom armor set just to make sure I don't get any issues going back online. But other than that, it's pretty simple to uninstall. So we'll just jump off now and let Steam revalidate the files, overwrite them with what should be the files, which will then enable us to get back online. So while that's running, we'll look at the mods. So to install the Black Templars, we want to look at the description and the requirements. And then if we open up the kit bash one as a requirement, we can have a look at what that also requires, which is the Astartes overhaul mod. So this is the first thing we're going to have a look at downloading. This doesn't have any requirements, but it has a lot of other mods that require it. So jump into files and choose a version that you want. The version I got last week doesn't exist anymore. So I got the Death Watch. Astartes 2 Death Watch. Oh yeah, it's at the top there. So this is pre-built, so you don't need the pack cacher. And it's the same with the kit bash. It comes pre-built with the caches. However, for the Templar version, you will need the pack cacher, which is also on Nexus Mods. So what we want to do is open up the location where Space Marine's installed. Steam maps. And then we'll leave that open over this side. We'll grab another desktop. We'll open the pack cacher, make it small. Put that at the bottom for later. And then we'll grab another one. Move over to the side. So once you've downloaded all your zip files, give them a scan with some tools. Extract them. And then what we'll start with, so I always start with the server side. So if we open that up, go all the way down to where the packs are. So you can back up these now so you don't have to wait for the integrity to finish. It's nearly done, so we'll wait for that. And if you're struggling to find where Space Marine is running, if you open Task Manager, you should be able to. Open the file location. So when Space Marine's running again, we'll have a look at that, but that's an easy way of finding out where it's running. So we'll just make a new folder called back, and we can copy the originals into here so we can quickly restart if we need to. So that's all done. So this should now let us go back online. So we're all ready to apply the mods, but let's just make sure we're starting from scratch. So we're just jumping back online to make sure we can log in and access all the servers. So we didn't get an error there. Paulson is offline, so that's a good sign. Looks like it's signed us in. So that must have been the last class I played online, so we're ready to start installing the mods. So this might not work because it's just installed an update, but we'll go through the process of what I do anyway. So we've been through the mods, what to download, so we should have those in the download folder somewhere. So we've been through down into the pack, so we've got the server side. So that's my download folder. And then this should be the server for the Steam app. Yep. So we'll put that up there. And there's the pack cacher. We'll put that down at the bottom. And then what we can do is open another session so we can basically have the server and the app side open at the same time. And let's go down into the packs because we'll need that later. And we'll leave it there. So the first mod that we have to install is the Astartes 2. So I've got the Deathwatch version. So this one's quite easy. All we need to do is copy and paste these two packs. Make sure we're doing server and server. And then just replace the two files. And if we go all the way back up, we can just jump on and do the client. So this side's a bit more involved. So we'll copy these two over. And we'll jump into default. We'll update these ones too. So that's the Astartes mod installed. So what I do next is install the kit basher. Again, this is just another copy and paste, a bit smaller. Just needs the client side. So we'll take the resources. So we'll jump back up a column. Replace the files there. Jump straight back into default. Copy these four. So you might not need to install or copy and replace the pack files from the Astartes 2 mod, but I just do it just to make sure that you've not missed anything. So what we'll do now is we'll jump back into the game and we'll make sure that's working. So we know the mod supplied because it's moved to that workshop. So normally you'll get an error in these next two screens. It's throwing us offline, but it's not bugged out the game, so it's looking like it's going to work. Normally you'll get an error before you can get this far, a crash report. So we can't play online anymore. That's just that. So that's looking good. So we'll quit out and so while the game's running, if you open Task Manager, you can just hit the Windows key, type in Task Manager, or hold Control Shift Escape. We'll right click the Warhammer logo, open the file location. It should bring us the shortcut or the application. So that's how you can grab the location for the client PC, and you can go up a couple of folders when you're in the server side as well. Right, so that's the game quitted. So if we minimize this for now, just double check what this is. So, yep, downloads. So we jump back into downloads. Now we want the Crusader Squad. So this is where it gets a bit more involved with applying the files. So if we jump into the loose files, we'll start with server side. So I only apply the default. So drill down. So what we want to do now, so once you've been into the loose files or in the server, so you see default underscore other. So if we go in here, that should match the pack file name. Default underscore other. You can see that if you do it by date modified, it'll be at the top. And just make sure it's the pack file, because there are cache files also in there. So we'll right click on the default underscore other. And what we want to do is go 7-zip, open archive. And we'll have this on this side. So if we open up there, so what we want to do is copy what we're doing on this side. So we'll go SSL. And then we'll start with, well, there's two ways of doing this. You can replace files one by one, which takes a bit of time, especially if there's quite a few in there. The quickest way is to just go back up a level, drag and drop straight in there. If you want it all, want to copy, just press yes, and basically it will combine all the files, overwrite any in there that's, but it will also keep all the other files in there so it doesn't overwrite anything it's not supposed to. So it's basically like a merge. So what we can do now, so I like to close out of that, and straight away we'll get the server side, refresh that. So now the pack's at the top. We've got the pack cacher there, so we want to drag from, make sure we're on the server side, and then double check this side. We're on the server. Drag and drop this on top of the pack cacher. And it'll bring up a command window and say it's completed processing. You refresh that, just double check that the cache is the latest one, and you have to do that. If you don't do that, it will throw errors when you try and open it again. So it's best to just do it as you go. So the server side's the easy one. The client PC, I believe there's two. Yeah, you got the texture files and stuff like that in one pack. So they're both in default. So I'll make this a little bit bigger so we can right click. Cool. So date modified. So that's the pack file. So we'll right click PCT_0. Same again, open archive. And what we'll do is just drag and drop. So if you want to learn how to edit the textures, you can grab these as a tool online. Just Google how to edit the PCT_MIP files. And you can convert it back into a TGA file. Edit the texture, then reconvert it back into the PCTs. So what we'll do, we've copied that through, close that down, just refresh this. Our pack's at the top, and we'll pack cache it. Now we want to do the default underscore other. Just the pack file, default underscore other. Oh, what's going on? 7-zip, open archive. Jump into, oh, should we just drag and drop? And then close it. The reason I'm closing it, I'd had a lot of issues the other day. I left it open. I think I bricked it. I had to revalidate it or go from scratch. So just drag it onto the pack cacher again. And I don't know why it happened. I couldn't work it out. I kept recaching and it just kept throwing a bug report. So I just did it all from scratch and it all worked fine. So we've done the client side, we've done the server side, we've done both pack files. So in theory, what we'll do now is open the game, double check that works, and then I'll just do a quick video on how I edit the squad size, and then we'll jump into a game. Right, let's see if this works. So, same again, we've lost access to the servers. Turn that down a bit. So let's jump in, double check the Black Templars are there. So it's not giving us a bug report, so we're looking good. All the anticipation. Just a warning that offline again, and there we go.
Maintain an arm-span distance from any servitor at work. Their reaction latency is high.
So I'll just show you. So I've never used the Assault class really, but because we've installed all the mods, we've got access to all the skins. So if I apply this now, before I uninstall it all, you should uninstall the skins that you don't belong to you. I'd go back to my default armor set, whereas I could play as the Centurion. So if we jump onto the bulwark, edit the armor, and just make sure we go back to the Black Templar. And then when we jump in game, we'll have a squad of Templars. So yeah, let's pretend we're uninstalling it now. So we go in there, uninstall anything we don't have, exit the game, and then just run through the integrity again. and then we'll be able to go back online. So we'll just go through editing the squad size now. Right, so we've exited the game. We'll minimize this. We'll jump back into our downloads, which I believe is on this side. Draw back up, and then we've got the 5-man squad here. So I believe there's 2 files, one in the server, one in the client. So we'll start with the client first. So what we're going to do is copy out the game mode description from the pack file, edit one line, and stick it back in. So SSO files we can edit with Notepad, Notepad++. Notepad++ is good because you can compare files. So if you download some other mods, you can install some plugins. So I've installed the compare, so you can have 2 files open of the same core, one original, one backup, whatever. Compare them against each other so you can see what someone else has modded if you're trying to learn how it all hangs together. So for this one, we're looking for the PvE. So you can see each mode's story, attack team, has a max players. So I edited this one to do the Ultramarines just to see what would happen if you had those 15. So you can change that to 20. You can probably go higher. It's quite CPU intensive, so I've not, because if you're fighting the Thousand Suns, all the particle effects come up, starts lagging the laptop as it is. It's the same with those Tyrannids that fire the hive spores. Those green things that come out really start lagging the laptop, especially when there's quite a few on screen. So let's go through that. So server side, uh, again you can check where you're editing. So default underscore other. Make sure it's the pack. Right click, open archive. So we'll draw down SSL main game nodes descriptions. So we have to be careful now, because I was copying files out, and this is when it started corrupting things. So we'll go copy to, we'll edit this. It's got all that stuff, stick it on the desktop, stick it in black. So before doing this, you could copy the pack files into some backup location. That way you can just copy and paste them back in if it does corrupt. So if you know what the game modes or the mods actually include, you don't need to copy it out, you could just drag them in. But I just thought I'd show you how to edit. So if we go into, do it with Notepad this time. So we've already got the 20 in there. I must have edited the original pack file. So what we'd do then is just drag that back into there, overwrite it, close that down, make sure you got your server side. Where's our pack? There it is. Refresh that, make sure we grab the pack file, stick it over the pack cacher, that processes, refresh, we're all good. And then you just do exactly the same thing, except on the client side. When you jump back in the game, go on a PvE, you should have 20 brothers. So we'll just showcase that, and then I think that's it. Right, so we've lost connection, but it's letting us in. There's no error report, so that's good signs. So let's jump into a game. See what happens. So we've done a good job on the cutscene. I think all we need next is a banner. So it still shows the Ultramarine one for the bulwark, but this mod's awesome, so can't complain. Skip that.
Retaking those sectors
So they all spawn on the two free spots, then they all split out.
damage, so we need a more targeted approach. Commandeer a Nova Cannon implosive warhead from the Navy supplies
And now the Crusade.
depot and deliver the payload by rail. We shall collapse the superstructure from below.
We will secure the Minotaurus depot in no time, Lieutenant. Keep close, brothers. Do not get separated in this storm.
The battle disturbs Avarax's arid landscape. Dust squalls can arise with little warning. If conditions obscure the path, look for the flashing guideposts.
Templars are already down here. But how do you dodge on this? Right, I hope that helps.
Advance one is clear.
Oof. There's that extra Minotaur was it?